You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi and Small Town Music. I'm Chris Davis, your host.
Mommy used to try to tell me don't drink, it's bad for you.
Naomi Taylor may be proof that Mississippi is hungry for original music. She's young, energetic, and writes a lot of her own original songs. And you'll see her name in places right alongside Mississippi's veteran singer-songwriters. This week's guest is Naomi Taylor.
Then I washed her down a couple bottles by the time she got through. And I don't know which way is right, which way is wrong, but I know what I do. No, stay down here where my roots run deep and take a sip of that bottle too.
You know, I think I read in your biography that you grew up listening to people like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I could definitely hear it in that song Roots.
Yes. I grew up listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan with my dad, and he was a big fan, and he taught me real good what good music is. So
we all end up I think being products of what our parents teach us, and I think it may have served you well because you certainly have achieved some I would say some major things over the past year. One of them is being the winner of the Mississippi Songwriter of the Year competition. Can you talk about what song you performed and what it was about the song that made it a winner and made you a winner?
Yeah, so I actually competed in that competition with the song Roots. I wrote this song specifically for that competition because I knew what they were looking for, and I wrote it and I made it kind of about me. I knew they were looking for something authentic and something that told a story, and so I decided to tell a story about me and my life and how I grew up and where I am now and where I'm going. It is a very fun competition, very, very fun. I definitely recommend to any songwriters in Mississippi to enter into that competition. You know,
it sounded in that song like if it was autobiographical that you may have a wild side.
Yes. I think we all kind of have a wild side. It's just a matter of, are you brave enough to let it out?
I want to talk about where you grew up and how that's influenced you. I read in your biography that you grew up in Loosedale, which is close to the coast. Did you have a coastal type of life when you were smaller?
I definitely did not have a coastal type of life. I grew up super small town. Everybody's in their jacked up trucks at Walmart, and you know, it is what it is, and if you make it out of that town, then good for you, and if you don't, you just don't. But no, Loosedale's great. It's just a very small town and not much opportunity for the music and the arts, which is why I got out of there.
So when you say you got out of there, where did you go? Where are you now?
I'm currently in Jackson, Mississippi area, specifically in Pearl. That's where I live right now, and it's great. There's opportunities everywhere for music. Everywhere is looking for live music and looking to support original artists. And you're more central. So if you wanted to go to Louisiana, you could. If you wanted to go to Tennessee, you could, and it's not too far away. And there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas in this region that really, really support original artists.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because it's a trend that I have noticed here in the past couple of years, is that Mississippi, central Mississippi especially, but other places too in the state, seem to be really hungry for original music. There are places, there are venues that have artists that you might not have heard of just a few years ago, and they seem to all have original music. And you're one of those people. I see your name in a lot of different places. I see it, like in Rib Eyes in Yazoo City, playing Dueling Hall, opening up for a national act. There seems to be more of an appetite for that these days. Do you see that?
I definitely see that. I see that more in cities than I do towns and small towns. And there's a hunger here for people to support original artists and to support musicians. And there's a hunger for artists to just get their stuff out there and to support each other. And it's a really great thing.
What is it like for you to get up on stage and play one of your original songs, actually kind of showing people who you are? And, what the singer-songwriters do is it's autobiographical in nature. And so you're kind of showing people your heart. You're maybe doing a little of pouring your heart out to the audience. What is that like?
I would say it's nerve-wracking, but it's really not. It's very relaxing, very freeing, especially in a world today where there's so much expectations and so much pressure everywhere you go, whether that's even just making enough money to buy groceries or having enough time to finish school. There's pressure everywhere that you go. And so for me, getting on stage and sharing my music is a release, and it's very freeing to just say, you know what, all expectations aside, this is who I am. So if you like it, stay. If you don't like it, leave.
But you don't want him to leave.
No. No, I do not.
Play guitar, now I make more money than him. And I don't know which way is right, which way is wrong, but I know who I am. And I stay down here where my roots run deep, and now I play along to that band. And I know we got places to go, so I'ma hit that road. I'ma hit that road. On my doorstep knocking, screaming, telling me to come out. But I don't have a damn thing for him. What he has, I can do without. And I don't know which way is right, which way is wrong, but I don't have a doubt, no. Stay down here where my roots run deep and getting some to talk about. And I know we got places to go, so I'ma hit that road. I'ma hit that road. I'ma hit that road. No, 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 no. I'ma hit that road. And I know we got places to go, so I'ma hit that road. I'ma hit that road. No, no. I'ma hit that road. I'ma hit that road.
Coming up, why change can be a good thing. More with Naomi Taylor on the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB. You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi and Small Town Music. I'm Chris Davis, your host, and this week you're hearing Naomi Taylor, singer-songwriter, originally from Loosedale, Mississippi. So have you been able to record some of your songs besides Roots? What else have you recorded?
I have an acoustic EP that I released a couple years back that is out on all streaming platforms. It's titled We'll Find Our Way. And I have a couple other singles that released before Roots. But I'm working on an album at Eternal Beyond Studios in Richland, Mississippi. A 10-song album that's going to be amazing, and it's super energetic, and I'm just very excited to get that music out there. But it's not complete yet.
Do you have your own band?
I do, yes.
Okay, well, since this is a show that is geared toward people who enjoy the art of making music, in addition to listening to it, maybe tell us a little bit about your band. What's it made up of? Is it a traditional rock and roll country type band, like with 2 guitars and a bass and drums?
Yes, we have 2 guitars, a bass, and drums. My fiance, which is my better half, he is my guitar player. And so we both sing, he sings harmony, and we both are the sole writers of most of the music that's going on this album. And it's very dynamic. We have a very strong dynamic within the band. It's just a bunch of really cool people that love to play music, and we all get to come and share the same experience together.
You guys do weekly rehearsals? I mean, how do you do it? Because I see you playing out so much. I imagine that you get together quite often and work hard on perfecting this stuff.
We try to. We have bi-weekly rehearsals. We have one rehearsal every 2 weeks. And that seems to work for us.
Now, a lot of people who are out there as singer-songwriters still have to have a day job. Do you have a day job?
Currently, I am a full-time stepmom, so I stay home and take care of these beautiful kids. And I also teach guitar lessons and songwriting lessons to young female artists in my area.
Now, that is something I've interviewed a lot of people on this show, and I have not talked yet to a female musician who actually is kind of serving as a mentor for other young female musicians. What do you see when you teach guitar lessons? You see that same hunger in those young musicians that you seem to have?
Sometimes. It depends on the student. You know, there's some students that come in that are taking private lessons because their parents signed them up for it, and they don't really want to, but they like music. And there's other students that you see that hunger in them, and you see their ideas coming to life, and you get to nourish those and to pour into those to those girls and encourage them, because being a female artist in the music industry is very more difficult to be heard. And so encouraging those little girls to stand up for themselves and to voice their ideas, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. How is it more difficult?
With, male music artists, there's a lot more leeway. They get to be a lot more wild and express themselves a little bit more, and people just, they love it. Whereas like a female artist, like, we'll take Elle King. Elle King is a very rustic artist, and some of the same mistakes that she makes, and some of the same ways that she expresses herself, when a man does it, it's more acceptable than when she does it. She gets ridiculed for it, and I feel like there's some small double standards in the music industry, and it's, I feel like, harder for women to express themselves musically.
Is it that when men express personality and sexuality, it's more acceptable?
Yes, definitely.
Because, I was talking about your song Roots, and it seems like, there was a little bit of a wild side to you that came out in that song, and you talked about, kind of being a harder person, hard drinking. But it sounded like maybe you were saying something about yourself. I'm wild and I don't give a damn.
Yeah, kind of pushing that side to the surface and letting people see that side, but not full-fledged, changing my entire image as this very wild musician,
Never sat by each other on the bus on the way to school. Making friends was hard when every girl thought your brother was cool. Now and then I come across that old video game we used to fight over who'd win. Do you remember when we used to stay up late? We wrote that song about how there was never a place for you at all. Do you recall? But now it's changed. Now it's changed. Yeah, life has changed. Now it's changed. Now it's changed. Yeah, life has changed. We used to say it must have been a brother-sister kind of thing. Building forts in clubs and a million different things. We used to drive mom and dad up the wall. We used to not have any cares at all. We used to be just down the hall. But now it's changed. Now it's changed. Yeah, life has changed. Now it's changed. Now it's changed. Yeah, life has changed. And I'm still here, writing the same old songs. Shoulders back, chin up like a soldier, I'm marching tall. But it's still changing. And it's still changing. And life is still changing before us. And I remember us. And I'm not up for change, but this is life. And day by day I'll survive. Even though night by night mom still cries, we'll be alright. We'll be alright. Had a brother-sister kind of thing, now we don't have anything.
Coming up, Naomi Taylor talks about what it's like for a girl from small town Mississippi to open up for national musicians. You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB. You've got the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB. It's brought to you every week by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi and Small Town Music. And this week you're hearing the energetic and enigmatic Naomi Taylor.
Lost at sea, getting hard to breathe. All the hope I had left is getting hard to see. Can anyone come and rescue me? 'Cause these deafening thoughts keep circling me. hopes they.
How would you classify yourself? Do you think you're a country artist, or do you think you're a rock artist?
I think being a young female in South and Central Mississippi in the southern region kind of already classifies myself as a country artist. But if I were to personally classify myself, I would say an indie rock artist.
Okay, I can see that. You obviously, when you were younger, took guitar lessons. How did that come about? How did you get interested in music?
Well, I actually didn't take guitar lessons. I learned from watching my dad play, and I grew an interest in it, and I started teaching myself and songwriting and writing a lot of bad songs, and eventually came some good songs, and I just grew a love for it. It became my therapy. You know, I was bullied a lot in school, and so I would come home and I'd feel all these teenage feelings and these kid feelings, and I would just sit there with my guitar and play and get it all out, and it was my saving grace. And so I wanted to pass that along to other kids and other girls that are struggling with that, and teaching them some other outlets to get those feelings out.
How old were you when you first started performing out?
I was 15 years old when I first started performing live.
And what kind of places can a 15-year-old play? Because so many people play in bars and nowadays it's restaurants, and that's a lot easier. But when you were 15, maybe not as many restaurants were having performers. What kind of places did you get to play?
I got to play festivals, kind of like I was in a small town, so it was like Old Fashioned Day or like a motorcycle show or this benefit that, like, I never got paid for a gig until my 20s.
So you did it pro bono just to actually get out there and play?
Yes. I didn't even know musicians got paid. I just wanted to play. I wanted to get my name out there and get my music out there. And I played mostly covers, but I just wanted to sing and play, and I did. And when I moved up here, the whole culture was different. It was, hey, we love you, we want to hire you. What is your rate? And I'm like, whoa, what? I've never been paid for this. I didn't know I could make a living out of this. Let me shift my mind, you know?
Did you serve as your own manager?
Yes, and I still currently do.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's looking like you're getting some traction. Have you ever thought about hiring somebody to take over that role?
I've thought about it. And some of my more high-profile gigs, I let my producer step in as my manager to make sure that I'm in good hands, and as like an extra support beside me.
So I saw that a little while back, a couple of weeks ago, you opened up for somebody at Dueling Hall. Who did you open up for?
I've opened up for, most recently it was Mallory Johnson, National Touring Act.
Oh, but you've played there before at Dueling Hall?
Yes, I've opened for Michaela Davis, who is a harpist. She's an amazing musician from New York, and she was touring, and I opened up for her. And I've played some other events at Dueling Hall.
So what's it like playing in front of a crowd that is there to see, you know, another artist that's maybe a little more well-known, a little more mainstream? I don't know if you've ever heard the song Opening Act by Mary Chapin Carpenter, but she talks about how sometimes that can be kind of a miserable gig. You don't get the appreciation from the fans that are there because they're not there to see you necessarily. They're there to see the person who comes after you. What is that like?
It's a little nerve-wracking. It's a little discouraging and encouraging at the same time. You know, it's easy to fall in the slippery slope of, you know, they're not here to see me. They don't care. But then you have to get up on stage and you step up and say, you don't know me, but you're going to know me and you're going to love me. You know, it takes a very strong sense of courage to step up and sing for people that are not there to specifically see you.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, I read a story just today about Stevie Ray Vaughan opening up for Huey Lewis and the News back in 1984, and he did an entire tour with them, and the first night he was about to have a nervous breakdown because of the reaction from the crowd, which was there to hear the power of love and instead was hearing, you know, Texas Flood. And, you know, same thing happened to Jimi Hendrix. He opened for the Monkees, which was a very oddball pairing. And when you said something about opening for a harpist, it made me think of that. How was that, opening for somebody who had music that was so much different from what you do?
It was actually very interesting. You know, sometimes we get so used to our routines that music kind of fits inside of a box for us, especially those that are repeatedly just doing gigs every single week, seeing the same crowd, seeing the same artists, doing the same songs. We kind of fit music into our own little box. And then artists like Michaela Davis comes in and blows your hair back because it's like Fleetwood Mac all over again with a harp. Like, it's really cool and it's so inspiring. And then you go home and you're like, wow, music is cool again. Music is inspiring.
Back on solid ground, your hand touches my face. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. I never knew what it was, the reason for this. I searched for love in a buzz, still it didn't fix it. Then you looked in my eyes, saw me for who I was, and now these deafening lies are drowned out by your love. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. Cause when you're with me, I see with you is where I'm meant to be. And though time isn't always kind, we'll find our way back home, just give it time. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. So take my hand and won't you dance with me around this dark and unrelenting sea. Who knows when they will find us, so won't you just come and get lost with me. Lost at sea, oh, lost with me.
Coming up, why Naomi Taylor says she's doing this for you. You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 1039 WYAB. You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 1039 WYAB, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi and Small Town Music. I'm your host, Chris Davis, and this week you've been hearing a visit with singer-songwriter Naomi Taylor, who moved from Loosedale to Pearl to pursue her music career in the central part of the state. A lot of critics, people like this guy named Rick Beato on the internet, they're analyzing today's music, and they're saying this is not as good as music from the 60s and 70s. Do you think that artists that are coming out with music now, current artists, are any worse or better, or do you have an opinion on that?
I think that music as a whole is very different than it was in the 70s. One of my favorite artists is Joni Mitchell, and I love watching her old live performances in the 70s and in the 60s of her performing, and the crowd was silent. They were just listening and intentional to listening to every word and note that she made, and it was beautiful. Whereas now we live in a world of social media and of technology, and everyone just wants something that everyone else likes. And so it's a lot more difficult to find that very wholesome, meaningful music, and it gets buried very easily by music that's just trending, or silly, catchy songs that don't really have a true meaning to the artist. And it's definitely a completely different world than it was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, because everyone just was there for the music back then. And now people are there for the social media exposure and the likes and the follows and the trends.
Yeah, but you and I have that in common as far as Joni Mitchell goes. I love Joni Mitchell. I think she was a one-of-a-kind artist, and I do love watching those live performances, like live at the BBC. That was a fascinating performance to watch.
I think that's the beautiful thing about music, is you can write it, and you can put so many metaphors and so many hints in different languages and say it so plainly that some people don't even catch it. And some people do. And the people that do, it creates that connection between the artist and the listener. And that's what makes music so relational.
I never got the chance to finish what I started. Oh, to write a new ending would leave us pretending that your soul didn't part mine. We never got the chance to watch the sunrise on the beach. Oh, to make empty promises we were a part of this love affair, darling mine. Well, it's time to lay some projects to rest, darling mine. It wasn't our time quite yet, my mind races of how this will end. Will we let it begin? Restless ocean heart, a loving smile lost at sea, turn kisses into a heart. You know it meant more to me. Well, it's time to lay some projects to rest, darling mine. It wasn't our time quite yet, my mind races of how this will end. Will we let it begin?
how can people find you? How can they find your music? What do they need to do?
They can go to naomitaylormusic.com. They can go to facebook.com/Naomi Taylor Music, Instagram at Naomi Taylor Music, YouTube, Naomi Taylor Music. They can find me anywhere, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anything and everything that you can think of. You can find me there. And then when the album drops, we'll have a redirect page that directs you straight to the new album that we are so excited to share with y'all.
And again, the band name is The Whispering Trees?
Yes.
Where'd that come from?
It is a name that we came up with, me and my guitar player, and it just felt like it described us. It felt perfect. It stuck, and luckily it was the only name that we had come up with that nobody else has taken in the music industry, and it just felt meant to be. So that's what we're going with.
And I can't seem to get my mind off you. And I know this isn't right, but I can't fight the truth. The way you dance without a care on your fingers to my hair, it's testing me. And I can't seem to get my mind off you. And I know this
I have thoroughly enjoyed talking with you and getting to know you a little bit and finding out about what the makeup of Naomi Taylor's music is and what you're all about. So I thank you for taking this time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your black t-shirt on the floor, you don't even have to try. You leave me one more.
You've got the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB. It comes to you each week at this time. Brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi and Small Town Music. Be sure to tune in next Friday at 9 right here on 103.9 WYAB.